It wasn't that long ago that Fortnite set an all-time record with 11.6 million active concurrent players, and the game was consistently between 2 to 4 million, sometimes even more, concurrent average players. In comparison, those numbers now are not even close. In fact, there's been a steady, consistent decline ever since the end of Fortnite OG. We're basically back to where we were player count-wise before Chapter 1 OG dropped in the first place. Something's gotta give real soon, especially considering Chapter 5 Season 3 had the worst numbers of any season to start in Chapter 5. We already know Fortnite OG is slated to return later this year, but can it really stand up to the success that was 2023 OG Fortnite? Here's what I think Epic is gonna do and what I think is gonna happen. But first, if you could do me a favor, tap that like button and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. And if you're buying something in the item shop, might as well throw in code Dr. P. So obviously, Fortnite OG was unbelievably successful, and I believe it's important to understand exactly why that was the case. First of all, there were a ton of people who came back to the game only because their friends were going back to give the game another shot because it was familiar. They didn't have to learn anything new, and of course, it's what they originally were playing back in the day. On the other hand, streamers came back in waves. Streamers who hadn't touched this game in forever all of a sudden were back in waves. All the attention in the blink of an eye turned back to Fortnite, and for that 1 month, this game was once again the prized gem amongst gamers. Between old pals and streamers coming back to the game, I would say the reason for the success of Fortnite OG was really simple. It was the friendships. We all came back to this game collectively because a relationship, whether it was a friend, a streamer, or something else, was reignited. Also, objectively, the game was just better back then, but that might just be me. Obviously, with the crazy numbers and the massive success, Epic was not gonna let Fortnite OG just never come back. They quickly announced that they were going to bring it back in 2024, but what they did not reveal at the time is it looks more and more like we're actually going to get a Chapter 2 version of Fortnite OG instead of Chapter 1, and that makes me really question if this can be as successful as Chapter 1 OG, and not only that, but can it get even close to the numbers of Chapter 1? I have some serious doubts. Unless you've been living under a rock, you're familiar with this roadmap that came out a couple months ago, and pretty much everything on it has come true since, so it's fair to assume we are getting Chapter 2 Seasons 1, 2, and 3 come November. Going back to what I said about last year's Fortnite OG being extremely successful because of the friendships, I just don't know how many friendships this chapter, specifically these 3 seasons, created in comparison to Chapter 1. Does it genuinely get more people excited? Epic must think that, otherwise they would just bring back what has worked really well already. And I know people are gonna say, oh, but Dr. P, a lot of people never got to play Chapter 2. They already did a Chapter 1 OG, so what's the point? Well, the point ultimately is having a maximum number of players and having the most people possible on your game, spending money on your microtransactions and whatnot. Listen, I got nothing against Chapter 2. I very much loved Chapter 2. In particular, I loved Chapter 2 Season 2, Top Secret, which it looks like we're gonna be getting back. With all that said though, I do not think bringing back Chapter 2 is a better strategy than bringing back Chapter 1 if the goal is to simply have the most amount of people on your game as you can possibly have. It seems like Fortnite OG is going to be an annual thing, so it seems like sort of the annual trend is going to be this coming out in November, player count going really high up, and then over the next year until the next Fortnite OG, the player count slowly dwindles back down to very low. Honestly, I don't think this is a bad strategy from Epic. I really don't. Playing on relationships and nostalgia is really effective and it's incredibly strong. But I think this only works if you can get the initial player count with the launch of Fortnite OG to go up really high. With Chapter 1 OG, it was really successful, so nobody had to worry about it. But what if Chapter 2 OG launches and the player count is, let's say, 50% of Fortnite OG, which is still above average? Then by the time we get back to November of the next year, since you didn't start out as high, the numbers are going to be even lower than they are right now, which would not be a good look. Maybe I'm looking at this through extreme same OG lens, but I just don't think Fortnite OG would even be a proper label if they were to bring back Chapter 2, because it's not OG. The original OG season wasn't really even OG. There were so many things that were missed, but I digress. I saw this post from Denny on Twitter that I very much agree with. It says Fortnite should lock the in and release Chapter 1 OG as a permanent game mode like Lego, Festival, and Racing alongside this year's Chapter 2 OG. This is what people have been clamoring for ever since they heard about the initial launch of Fortnite OG. We really need this as a game mode. If this were to come back, looking at the numbers from the original OG season, it would not be a problem to split this thing up a little bit, especially since you've already got the divide between builds and zero build modes. It's very clearly what a lot of players want. Is Chapter 2 ultimately going to bring more players and more old streamers back to the game than a Chapter 1 Round 2 would do? Personally, I don't think so. I have a really hard time seeing it. Yeah, Chapter 2 Season 2 was amazing, one of the best ever, but we're completely skipping over some of the later seasons in Chapter 2 that were among the greatest ever as well. Despite everything I've said in this video, I'm very much looking forward to Chapter 2 OG, and I'm excited to get back on and try out some of these seasons again. Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below and let me know what you would have preferred, Chapter 2 or Chapter 1.